May God be good to you. He, may God have mercy on him, said, the chapter on the interpretation of monotheism and the testimony that there is no God but God, and the saying of God, those are the ones who invoke and seek a means to their Lord, which of them is nearer, and they hope for his mercy and fear his punishment. Yes, this matter from God is a matter of incapacitation.
And the command to deny is not a command of obligation. When he says, say, invoke those whom you claim besides him. This means that people differ in this. They claim others besides him, such as trees, stones, the sun, the moon, the stars, the planets, humans, and angels, anyone. And those whom you claim besides him do not possess the ability to alleviate harm from you or to change it. They do not have the ability to reveal it at all, nor do they have the ability to change it from you, neither revealing it nor changing it. Then he said, those who invoke, these disbelievers are disavowed from their invocation. They seek a means to their Lord, and the greatest evidence of this is the saying of God, blessed and exalted be he. And when God said, O Jesus, son of Mary, did you say to the people, take me and my mother as two gods besides God? He said, glory be to you. It is not for me to say what is not right for me to say. He disavows them and seeks a means to his Lord. May the blessings and peace of my Lord be upon him. Likewise, those who worship Ezra, those who invoke Muhammad, those who worship angels, and those who worship trees, stones, the sun, and the moon. All of these that are called upon besides God, the blessed and exalted, disavow those who invoke them. They themselves seek a means to their Lord, hoping for his mercy and fearing his punishment. So how can they, being such rational beings who hope for his mercy and fear his punishment, say, invoke us besides God? Such words cannot come from them. Yes, indeed, they seek a means to their Lord. The scholars say regarding such a word that the letters is an as alternate. Thus the means is the wasila, which is the thing that connects to God, blessed and exalted. It is often the case that the as is replaced by as in the Arabic language. The point is that the means is the wasila, meaning the thing that connects them.
To God, the blessed and exalted, yes, and his saying, and when Abraham said to his father and his people, indeed, I am disassociated from what you worship except for the one who created me. This is indeed what Abraham, peace be upon him, said to his father and his people, indeed, I am disassociated from what you worship except for the one who created me.
Thus they were worshipping God and alongside him, others, if we say except as an exception. If we say the exception is disconnected, then except would mean but, making it a disjointed statement here. It would conclude the speech, and he would say, but the one who created me, meaning I worship the one who created me. I worship the one who created me. This is similar to his statement when he saw the sun rising, saying, this is my Lord, this is greater. When it set, he said, O my people, I am innocent of what you associate with God. Thus, Abraham disavowed the religion of his father and the religion of his people, who followed two paths. Some worshipped the stars, while others worshipped idols. And Abraham, peace be upon him, debated with him about this and that, and this is different from the king who entered upon Abraham. Did you not see the one who argued with Abraham about his Lord, when God had given him kingship? When Abraham said, my Lord is the one who gives life to the dead, he replied, I give life and cause death. This was another matter. It means that Abraham, peace be upon him, confronted him. People face problems, worshipping idols and celestial bodies, and some claim divinity and lordship. This is why Abraham, peace be upon him, became the leader of the prophets and the master of humanity after Muhammad, peace be upon him, due to the trials and challenges he endured from his people. And his saying, they took their scholars of Judaism and monks of Christianity as lords besides God is indeed in line with the author's title, Interpretation of Monotheism. They took them as lords, and the narration explaining this hadith, despite its weaknesses, is very well known. When Adi ibn Hatim al-Ta'i embraced Islam, he heard a man reciting the words of Allah, blessed and exalted. They took their scholars of Judaism and monks of Christianity as lords besides God and Christ, son of Mary. Adi went to the Prophet Muhammad and said, O Messenger of God, we did not worship them, meaning he wanted clarification on the verse. They took their scholars of Judaism and monks of Christianity as lords besides God. How did we take them as lords besides God? The Prophet Muhammad replied, did they not prohibit what Allah had made lawful and you prohibited it? And did they not permit what Allah had made unlawful and you permitted it? He said, yes. The Prophet said, that is their worship. You made them legislators alongside Allah, as Allah, blessed and exalted, said, they have taken partners who legislated for them in the religion that which Allah had not permitted. Thus, the people's assumption of the authority to permit and prohibit made them deities alongside Allah, blessed and exalted. This is part of the interpretation of monotheism, as the author mentioned, or as the author cited this verse in this context. The scholars of Judaism refer to the learned individuals among the Jews, while the monks of Christianity refer to the worshippers among the Christians. The term scholars can also be applied to the learned individuals among the Christians, and monks can refer to the worshippers among the Jews. However, it is commonly known that the scholars are the learned individuals of Judaism, and the monks are the worshippers of Christianity.
And he's saying, and among the people are those who take equals besides God, loving them as they love God. Indeed, this is one of the nullifiers of monotheism. He says, and among the people are those who take equals besides God, loving them as they love God.
And those who believe have a stronger love for God. There are two interpretations by the scholars regarding this verse. Some people take equals besides God, equating them with God, the blessed and exalted. Among people there are those who take equals besides God and then say they love them as they love God. This has two meanings. The first meaning is that they love them as they love God, meaning they love God and love the equals, but they associate partners in love, meaning they love them to the extent that they love God, the Most High. And God does not accept this. Glory be to Him. The love of God must be above all love. Even the love of the Prophet Muhammad must be less than the love of God. Thus, these people have committed polytheism in love, loving the equals as they love God. This is a distortion of love, or the meaning of the verse could be that they love them as they love God, meaning they love them intensely, like the love that should be directed to God. They do not love God, but they love these equals with an intense love that should be directed to God, the blessed and exalted, if they truly knew Him. They love their equals and equate their love, or they do not love God alone but love these equals, exaggerating in their love as one should direct love solely to God, blessed and exalted. The rest of the verse is interpreted based on this division. Those who believe have a stronger love for God. If those people love them and love God, it is said that those who believe have a stronger love for God because they do not equate God with anyone. God is above all. Thus, those who believe have a stronger love for God because they do not equate Him with anyone else. Those who believe love God more than the love of the worshippers for their idols, for on the day of judgment they will separate and disown one another. On that day, the allies will be enemies to one another. But as for these, meaning the believers, their love for Allah is steadfast and unchanging. Rather, it increases. Thus, the interpretation of this verse is based on these two meanings, and both meanings are correct.
In the authentic narration from Prophet Muhammad, he said, whoever says there is no God but Allah and disbelieves in what is worshipped besides Allah, his wealth and blood are sacred, and his reckoning is with Allah the Exalted. This explanation is elaborated upon in the subsequent chapters, As this hadith essentially prevents the killing of hypocrites,
those who did not declare their hypocrisy because they said there is no God but Allah and disbelieved in what is worshipped besides Allah, have their wealth and blood sanctified, and their reckoning is with Allah, whether they are truthful or lying in their claim. Their reckoning with Allah may also consider if they fell short in other aspects, even if they were truthful but neglected other areas, such as committing major sins. This is what led Prophet Muhammad to refrain from killing many of the hypocrites. When the Prophet was informed about Dhul Khuwaisirah, Abdullah ibn Ubay ibn Salul, Al-Jad ibn Qais, Abu Amir the Wicked, or others among the hypocrites, there was a debate about whether Al-Jad ibn Qais was a hypocrite or not. When it was suggested to the Prophet to kill them, he said no, so that it would not be said that Muhammad kills his companions, as it would appear that he is openly showing Islam. Therefore, the Prophet did not hastily proceed to kill them.
May Allah do good to you in the greatest and most important matters, which are the interpretation of monotheism and the interpretation of testimony. It clarifies these concepts with clear points, including the verse of Al-Isra, which provides a response to the doubters who call upon the righteous, indicating that this is indeed the greatest form of polytheism. Among them is the verse of Al-Bara'ah, which clarifies that the people of the book took their scholars and monks as lords besides Allah, and it indicates that they were not commanded except to worship one God. The interpretation, which is undisputed, is that obeying scholars and worshippers in disobedience is akin to calling upon them, meaning that making their obedience like their invocation is no different. Among them is the statement of the friend Abraham, peace be upon him, to the disbelievers, "Indeed, I am free from what you worship except for him who created me." He excluded his Lord from those worshipped, and glorified and exalted is He. This disavowal and allegiance is a testimony that there is no God but Allah. He said, and He made it a clear word, remaining in His descendants, so that perhaps they would return. Among them is the verse of Al-Baqarah regarding those whom Allah mentioned, saying they will not escape from the fire. It is noted that they love their equals as they love Allah, which indicates that they have a great love for Allah, yet they have not entered into Islam. So how about one who loves his equal more than he loves Allah? And how about one who loves only his equal and does not love Allah? We say the verse can be understood in both ways. Yes, it can be understood in both ways. Among them is the saying of Prophet Muhammad, "Whoever says there is no God but Allah and disbelieves in what is worshipped besides Allah, his wealth and blood are sacred." This is one of the greatest explanations of the meaning of "there is no God but Allah," for it does not make the mere utterance of it a protection for blood and wealth, nor does it suffice to understand its meaning with its wording, nor does it suffice to merely call upon Allah alone without partners. Rather, his wealth and blood are not sacred until he adds to that the disbelief in what is worshipped besides Allah. If he doubts or hesitates, his wealth and blood are not sacred. What a profound matter it is, and what a clear explanation it provides, along with an argument that is decisive for the disputants.
This is similar to the saying of Allah, there is no compulsion in religion.